Now we're going to talk about the 544K front end loader operation and maintaining it. When you get in this to start it, the first thing you want to do is do a walk around. You want to check the tires, make sure your tires are in good condition. Check the hoses for any leaks, anything that's obvious to the eye, leaking oil, frayed hoses, anything of that nature. Here is your transmission fluid. You want to make sure you look at that. It needs to be, there's an indicator here that tells you where the level needs to be for when you start it and when you're running it. You need to look at that before you start it to make sure there's enough fluid in the transmission. Then we'll go to the engine compartment to check the motor oil and hydraulic oil. Just pull this latch out, flip this over. You can fold this down. The oil is right here. There should be a key on the dipstick. You can see right there to get in the cab. So we'll check the oil. The oil looks good. You also want to check the hydraulic oil right here. You can see there's a low and a high. You want to be somewhere in that range. Then you've got your antifreeze here. Again, same thing. Look for anything that's obvious to the eye. Frayed wires, leaking hoses, oil anywhere on the engine block, things, loose bolts. Just get an eye on the whole thing. So we'll cover this up. Shut the door. Your fuel is right here. Take that off. It's on a chain. Make sure you get that put back on after fueling it. We'll walk around here to the other side. This is your battery box. If you get on site and you need to jump the machine, this is where you would do it. First thing you would want to check if you suspect it's dead is make sure that the master switch here is on. If it's off, it's not going to give any juice to the machine and it won't start. It will seem as though it's dead. So before you call Jason, make sure that this is in the on position. Now we're ready to jump in the cab and fire it up. So now we've done our walk around. We've checked to make sure that we're not parked on top of the manhole. We're not going to back into anything, hurt anybody. We're ready to jump in the cab and fire it up and take off. You open the door, pull the latch. And it's important that when you open it, that you get it shut all the way and latched. That'll give you a solid 3 points of contact to climb into the machine. If you don't get it latched all the way, what you'll get is this number, and it can cause you to fall off and hurt yourself. So make sure that that's latched, give you a good 3 points of contact all the way up into the machine. So now we're in the cab of the machine. We're ready to start using it. First thing we need to do is adjust our steering wheel. We do that by pushing down on this lever here. We can pull it to us to a desired height. You've got your forward reverse selector here, and then your gear is here. You've got 4 gears, drive, and then 1 through 3. You can select which gear you want there. And we come over here to our keypad. To start it, we push this button once, gives you an auxiliary. All your gauges will come on, you'll have the radio. And we push it twice, the machine will start. To turn it off, we hit the stop button. You've got a strobe and 4-way flashers here. This is a hydraulic lock button. That needs to be on. You'll notice now I can move the bucket around. If I turn that off so there's no light there, you'll see I can't do anything with that. So when you're using this, when you start it, you need to make sure that that light is on. Parking brake's right here. If that light's on, the parking brake is engaged. So when you're using it, you need to have it so that the light is off. The next thing we're going to discuss is taking the bucket off, putting it on. Move my bucket here so you can see the locking pins. That right there is the locking pin. There's one on both sides. I'll zoom in on that so you can see it move. When you want to switch bucket forks or do anything with that, we hit this, we press that, it will beep. And you'll notice there, well, you see it moving there. I'll do it one more time so we can see it. Now it's locking. And I'll unlock it. It beeps. The pins are moving. Now we're ready to grab our bucket. To do that, just like the skid steer, just drive into the bucket. Kind of pick it up and roll it back. This is the same for the forks or the bucket. Roll it all the way back. We come back over here to our keypad, press that button. It will lock. And before you do anything with it, you need to make sure that the bucket is secure by dumping all the way out of it. You can see, you can get a visual on it just by looking there. The pin is through the bucket. It's always a good idea to go ahead and check it. You just do that by just dumping out of it. Just like that. If it were unlocked, the bucket would be just swinging back and forth and not dumping all the way out. That's how you switch from forks to buckets. Now we're going to discuss greasing the 544K. To do this, we need a small screwdriver, a rag, and the grease gun. There's 13 grease zerks that we grease every 20 hours. So we'll start with this one right here. Put the hose on there. 3 to 4 pumps is all you need. You don't need to get real carried away with it. You're looking for any pivot point on the machine. So there's 3. We've got one here, one here, there. There's one on the back side of this pin here. It's kind of hard to get to. It's easier if you pick the bucket up and dump it. It's easier to get to if you do that. There's one here, there. One right here, 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 and here. And then 2 other spots on this machine that we need to grease and keep an eye on are the locking pins that hold the bucket. If we don't lube these with grease or WD-40, it's hard to get the bucket or the forks off the machine. So anytime we grease the machine, it's a good idea to just smear a little bit of grease there and here on each side, just to make sure that those pins can lock and unlock when we need them to.